as an NSSA area. It's so easy and it's so similar to the configuration of the stub area. You know that in a stub area, we should configure all of the routers with the area ID stub. Here, the configuration of the NSSA area is similar with the stub area. Let me to show you NSSA area. You should use area ID NSSA. That's it. Okay, on all routers, on all switches or routers of the area. For example, area 1. Let me starting with the NXOS 1 router OSPF 1, then area 1 NSSA. Okay, here enter, and then in the NXOS 2 area 1 NSSA. Okay, let me check the routing table. In the routing table, we expect that now we shouldn't have the OSPF type 2, because here OSPF type 2 means OSPF LSA type 5 with metric type of 2. Because this area now is a stop NSSA area, we don't expect that receiving the LSA type 5. Show IP root OSPF. Let me to show you, show IP root. As you can see here, we don't have any root for example, external routes. If you need, you can check the show IP OSPF in the switch 2. Here we have this statement. This area is a NSSA area. Okay, NSSA area means in this area we don't have LSA type 5, but we have LSA type 7. Let me to show you. For example, in NXOS 1, if you check the show IP route, if our routing table learn from the OSPF, look at here, we have these two routes received from the LSA type 7, NSSA type 2, and after that, the ABR can translate these two LSA type 7 to LSA type 5 and advertising to area 0. Let me to show you the NXOS 2's, NXOS 3's routing table, show IP route OSPF. Here we have these two routes with LSA type 5. Okay, look at here. Let me to show you. The first thing that is happened is that these two routes redistributed in the area 1 with LSA type 7, because this is an NSSA area, and after that in the ABR this LSA type 7 translated to the LSA type 5. Because of that, in NXOS 3 we have these two paths. But you know that by default in the NSSA area, default route doesn't advertise. Because of that, NXOS 2 doesn't have a default route, and it can't send traffic to 172.16.0/24. Look at here in the for example, NXOS 2, if you check the routing table, show IP route OSPF, you can see that we don't have default route. Only we have one route for 10.130. This is the LSA type 3. If you need to advertise default route into the NSSA area, you should configure in the ABR area ID NSSA with one keyword, default information originate. If you need to advertise default route, default information originate, and this is a LSA type 7 default route, because you know that in NSSA we don't have the LSA type 5. Let me to show you area 1 NSSA default information origin. Now NXOS 2 has a route, has a default route. Look at here, show IP route. This is a default route received from the NSSA type 2, and this means that now NXOS 2 can send traffic, for example, to the 172.16.0.1 because it has the default route, and also NXOS 3 can send traffic to the 172.17.0.1 because NXOS 3 learned the 172.17.0.0 and also 1.0. Okay, that's it. This is the NSSA area, and as you can see, the configuration of the NSSA area is so easy. In the NXOS 1, if you check show IP OSPF, you can see in the area 1 part, this area, okay, is a NSSA area and performing type 7 to type 5 LSA translation, and also we are generating NSSA default route. Very good. Also, we have a concept so similar with the concept of the totally stop. That is the totally NSSA. What is the totally NSSA? Totally NSSA area is the area, again, we don't have LSA type 5, and also we have LSA, for example, we don't need to LSA type 3. You know that. In the stop area, okay, we have LSA type 5, and also we don't have LSA type 5, but we have LSA type 3. In the totally stop, we don't have LSA type 5 and also LSA type 3. In NSSA area, we have LSA, we don't have LSA type 5, but we have LSA type 7 and LSA type 3. In the totally NSSA, we don't have LSA type 5 and also LSA type 3, but we have LSA type 7. This is the review of the topic. You should learn the topic in the iOS part of the OSPF class. Very good. If you want to configure one area as a totally NSSA area, you should configure all of the internal routers with the area ID stop, but you should configure the ABR with the area ID NSSA no summary. This means that this area is a, for example, NSSA area, and also we shouldn't advertise LSA type 3, the summary LSA inside of this area. And also on the internal routers, you should configure the, for example, area ID NSSA, area ID NSSA. Okay, let me to show you. The NXOS2 now contain area ID NSSA, and in the NXOS1 I'm using this command area, for example, 1 stop with the no summary command. You don't need to use the default information originate, because in area totally NSSA, automatically default route should be generated with the LSA type 3. Let me to show you the configuration. Show run OSPF. Look at here. Here we have only one command, area 1 stop no summary. Now let me check the NXOS2 show IP route OSPF. After some second, we will have one, for example, default route, and also we will have the LSA type 5s. Okay, the LSA type, we don't have LSA type 5, and also we don't have LSA type 3. Show IP route OSPF. We should wait some second because the neighborship should be established again, and you know that because this is an Ethernet link, the DR and BDR selection now is occurring. Let me check. Show IP, for example, OSPF neighbor. We don't have neighborship until now. Show run OSPF in the switch 2. In switch 2, I used area 1 NSSA. It's okay. In switch 1, I used area 1 NSSA no summary. The command is the command is incorrect. Area 1 NSSA no summary. Okay, now it's okay. Let me check the NXOS2 again. Show IP OSPF neighbor. Yes, after some second we have neighborship, and we can reach to the DR or BDR state. Now let me check the routing table. Show IP route OSPF. As you can see here, we have only one default route. Why? Because we don't have LSA type 3 in the totally NSSA, and also we don't have LSA type 5. And if you check the NXOS3, again NXOS3 have the 172.17.0.0/24 and 172.17.10/24. This is the NSA totally NSSA area. If you need, you can check in NXOS1 the show IP OSPF again. Area 1, this area is the NSSA area. Perform a type 7 to type 5 LSA translation, and summarization is disabled. Okay, and finally, if you need, you can change the default cost if you want in your area with the command of the area ID default cost. It's the same as the configuration of the default cost in the stop area ID stop default cost. Let me to show you here. In the NXOS1, I'm using the area ID. The default is 1, area 1. Then default cost, for example, 10. Okay, let me check the NXOS2, the switch. Show IP route OSPF. Now we have the cost of 50. Why? Because 10